For 3 decades, he was America's television father. From the Ponderosa Ranch as Little Joe Cartwright, to the Prairie as Charles Ingalls, to walking the earth as an angel, Michael Landon created some of the most beloved characters in television history. But the man behind these iconic roles had a story more dramatic than any script he ever wrote. Born Eugene Morris Orowitz in a broken home filled with violence and mental illness, he transformed himself into television's ultimate father figure, perhaps because he knew exactly what children needed that he himself had never received. This is the remarkable story of how a troubled boy from Queens became one of television's most influential creators, starring in writing, directing, and producing shows that defined family values for generations of Americans. It's a story of redemption, creativity, and the power of television to heal not just audiences, but the broken child who grew up to become their most trusted storyteller. If you love learning about the real stories behind television legends, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Now, let's discover how. Michael Landon's painful childhood shaped him into the father America needed. Eugene Morris Orowitz was born on October 31, 1936, in Forest Hills, Queens, into a household that would provide him with a blueprint of everything he didn't want to become as a father and husband. His father, Eli Morris Orowitz, was a Jewish immigrant who worked as a publicist and theater manager. His mother, Kathleen, was an Irish Catholic former dancer and comedian who struggled with severe mental illness and alcoholism. The Orowitz household was a battleground. Kathleen's mental illness manifested in violent mood swings, suicide attempts, and emotional abuse that left young Eugene walking on eggshells. Never knowing which version of his mother he would encounter each day, Eli Orowitz was often absent, whether physically due to work or emotionally due to his inability to cope with his wife's condition. This left Eugene to essentially raise himself while trying to protect his younger sister from their mother's unpredictable behavior. Eugene developed several ways to cope with his chaotic home life. He became an exceptional athlete, finding refuge and structure in sports. He also discovered that he could escape into fantasy and storytelling, creating elaborate adventures in his mind where families were loving and fathers were strong protectors. Despite his intelligence, Eugene struggled academically due to the instability at home. Teachers noted that he seemed distracted and anxious, often arriving at school tired from sleepless nights, dealing with family crises. One of the most traumatic episodes of Eugene's childhood occurred when his mother, in one of her cruel moments, hung his wet bed sheets outside their apartment window for the neighborhood to see. This public humiliation would haunt him for years, and later influence his compassionate approach to childhood embarrassment in his television shows. Sports became Eugene's salvation. He excelled in track and field, particularly in the javelin throw, where he found an outlet for his frustrations and a way to earn recognition and respect from peers and adults who might otherwise have pitied the boy from the troubled home. Eugene dreamed of creating the kind of family he wished he'd had. He would later say that every loving father he portrayed on television was inspired by his determination to be everything his own father wasn't. The combination of his mother's mental illness, his father's emotional absence, and his own role as protector of his younger sister created in Eugene a deep understanding of family dysfunction and an equally deep desire to portray healthy family relationships. Despite the trauma, or perhaps because of it, Eugene developed remarkable resilience and emotional intelligence. He learned to read people's moods, anticipate problems, and find ways to create stability in unstable situations, skills that would prove invaluable in his later career as a television producer and director. These early experiences created the foundation for everything Michael Landon would become, a man determined to show America what loving families could look like. Perhaps because he understood so completely what they shouldn't look like. Eugene Orowitz's path from troubled teenager to television star began with an athletic scholarship that gave him his first real chance to escape his painful past and reinvent himself. Eugene's javelin throwing talent became his ticket to a better life. He set records and attracted the attention of college scouts, providing him with opportunities that his family's financial situation would never have allowed. In 1954, Eugene received an athletic scholarship to USC, where he studied journalism and continued his track and field career. For the first time in his life, he was surrounded by stability and people who believed in his potential. A shoulder injury ended Eugene's javelin career. But rather than crushing his dreams, this setback forced him to explore other talents. He had always been interested in storytelling and performance, and now he had the time to pursue these interests seriously. Eugene began taking acting classes and participating in college theatrical productions. He discovered that he had natural charisma and an ability to connect with audiences, skills that had been honed by years of managing his mother's unpredictable moods. Recognizing that Eugene Orowitz wouldn't work in Hollywood, he chose the stage name Michael Landon. The first name honored his Jewish grandfather, while Landon was selected from a phone book because it sounded both strong and approachable. After college, Michael moved to Hollywood with dreams of becoming an actor. Like thousands before him, he faced rejection after rejection. Working odd jobs while auditioning for any role he could find, Michael's breakthrough came with the 1957 film I Was a Teenage Werewolf. While the B-movie horror film wasn't prestigious, it showcased Michael's ability to portray vulnerability and inner turmoil, qualities that would define his later PI television work. During his early Hollywood years, Michael made it his business to learn every aspect of filmmaking. He watched directors, studied scripts, and asked questions about production, editing, and writing. This curiosity would prove crucial to his later success as a multi-hyphenate creator. In 1956, Michael married Dodie Levy Fraser, and they adopted her son Mark. This early experience of fatherhood, though the marriage would later fail, gave Michael his first opportunity to practice being the kind of father he had wished for as a child. Through his early roles, Michael began developing the screen persona that would make him famous. The combination of rugged masculinity with emotional sensitivity, strength with compassion, and authority with kindness that would define his television fathers. In 1959, Michael auditioned for a new NBC Western called Bonanza. The show's concept: a widowed father raising 3 sons with different mothers on a Nevada ranch, immediately appealed to Michael's desire to portray positive family relationships. Michael Landon was cast as Little Joe Cartwright on Bonanza in 1959. He didn't just land a role, he found his calling as television's most authentic portrayal of loving family relationships. Bonanza presented something revolutionary for its time: a single father successfully raising 3 very different sons with patience, wisdom, and unconditional love. For Michael, playing Little Joe meant being part of the family he had always wished for, as Eugene Orowitz, Lorne Greene, who played patriarch Ben Cartwright, became a father figure to Michael both on and off screen. Greene's mentorship taught Michael about professionalism, leadership, and how to balance authority with warmth, lessons he would carry into his own future roles as a television father. During Bonanza's 14-year run, Michael didn't just act, he learned. He began writing episodes, studying directing techniques, and understanding the business side of television production. He was preparing himself to create the kinds of shows he wanted to see. Despite his professional success, Michael's personal life remained complicated. His first marriage ended in divorce, and he struggled with the pressures of fame while trying to be a better father to his children than his own father had been to him. Michael's first major writing success came with Bonanza episodes that focused on family, relationships, and moral lessons. Producers and audiences noticed that his scripts had unusual emotional depth and authenticity when dealing with family conflicts and resolutions. Michael began directing Bonanza episodes, showing a natural talent for working with actors and creating the warm, intimate atmosphere that would become his trademark. His directing style emphasized emotional truth over flashy technique. When Bonanza ended in 1973, Michael was ready to create his own vision of television. He had spent 14 years learning his craft and understanding what audiences wanted from family entertainment. Michael's marriage to Lynn Noah in 1963 gave him another chance at creating the stable family life he craved. With Lynn, he had 4 children, and his approach to fatherhood was consciously designed to be everything his own. Father WASN, single quotes T. Through his Bonanza years, Michael developed his core philosophy about television that it should inspire, educate, and show families at their best rather than their worst. He believed television had a responsibility to model positive behavior. As Bonanza concluded, Michael was already developing his next project, a show that would allow him to explore family relationships even more deeply and personally than he ever had before, when Michael Landon brought Laura Ingalls Wilder's books to television in 1974. He created more than just a show. He created the template for television fatherhood that would influence generations of viewers and creators. Michael chose to adapt the Little House books because they represented everything he valued: strong family bonds, moral lessons learned through hardship, and parents who guided their children with wisdom and patience rather than anger and criticism. In Charles Pat Ingalls, Michael created his masterpiece of television fatherhood. Charles was strong but gentle, authoritative but kind, hard-working but always available for his children. He was everything Michael wished his own father had been. Michael's portrayal of Charles Ingalls wasn't just acting, it was therapy. Every scene where he comforted a crying child, every moment where he taught a life lesson, every display of unconditional parental love was Michael healing his own wounded inner child. As creator, writer, director, and star of Little House, Michael had complete creative control. This allowed him to ensure that every episode reinforced his vision of how families should treat each other with respect, understanding, and love. During the Little House years, Michael was raising his own children and consciously applying the lessons he was teaching on screen. His real-life approach to parenting was heavily influenced by his portrayal of Charles Ingalls. Little House didn't shy away from serious subjects: death, poverty, prejudice, illness, but Michael always approached these topics through the lens of how loving families help each other through difficult times. Michael's on-screen relationship with Melissa Gilbert, Laura, became one of television's most beloved father-daughter relationships. Their chemistry was authentic because Michael genuinely cared about the young actors he worked with. Often serving as a surrogate father figure to child performers, every Little House episode was designed to teach a moral lesson. But Michael's genius was in making these lessons feel natural and earned rather than preachy. The values emerged from character and situation rather than being imposed from outside. Millions of viewers grew up thinking of Charles Ingalls as the ideal father for children from broken homes, like Michael himself had been. Pa Ingalls provided a model of what good parenting looked like. Playing Charles Ingalls was therapeutic for Michael. Every time he portrayed a loving father, he was in some way healing the wounds left by his own father's emotional absence and his mother's mental illness. Little House on the Prairie became more than entertainment. It became a cultural touchstone for family values, showing audiences what American families could aspire to be at their best. As Michael Landon entered the 1980s, he created his most personal project yet, Highway to Heaven, a show that would serve as both his spiritual statement and, tragically, his farewell to television. In Highway to Heaven, Michael played Jonathan Smith, an angel sent to Earth to help people in crisis. This role represented the culmination of his evolution from troubled child to television's most trusted moral authority: forgiveness and second chances. All concepts that were deeply personal to Michael, who had spent his life transforming himself from the damaged Eugene Orowitz into television's most beloved father figure with Highway to Heaven. Michael achieved total creative control as star, creator, writer, director, and executive producer. This allowed him to create television that was uncompromisingly positive and uplifting, regardless of network pressures or ratings concerns. Throughout his career, but especially during Highway to Heaven, Michael was known for mentoring young actors and crew members, providing the guidance and support he had never received as a young person entering the business. Despite his professional success in creating perfect television families, Michael's personal life remained complicated. His second marriage ended in divorce, and he faced the challenge of blending families while maintaining the values he promoted on screen. In 1991, at the height of his success and influence, Michael was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The man who had brought hope to millions of viewers faced his own mortality with characteristic dignity and openness. Michael's final public appearances, including his emotional interview with Johnny Carson, showed the same vulnerability and authenticity that had made his television characters so compelling. He faced death, as he had faced life, with honesty and courage. Michael Landon's death on July 1, 1991, marked the end of an era in television. He had created a body of work that continues to influence how families are portrayed on screen and how viewers think about parenting and family relationships. Countless television writers, producers, and directors cite Michael Landon's work as influential in their understanding of how television can be both entertaining and morally instructive. His approach to family programming continues to inspire new generations of creators. Michael Landon's life story represents one of the most remarkable personal transformations in entertainment history. The broken, abused child from Queens became television's most trusted father figure, healing his own wounds while helping heal a nation's understanding of what families could be today. Michael Landon's shows continue to find new audiences through syndication and streaming platforms. New generations discover Charles Ingalls and Jonathan Smith, learning the same lessons about love, family, and moral courage that inspired viewers decades ago. Perhaps Michael Landon's greatest lesson was that our painful pasts don't have to define our futures. He proved that someone who never received proper parenting could learn to become the perfect television father, showing millions of people what love, patience, and moral courage look like in action. Michael Landon's journey from Eugene Orowitz, the broken boy from Queens, to America's most beloved television father is more than just a Hollywood success story. It's a testament to the power of the human spirit to heal and transform. Through Little Joe Cartwright, Charles Ingalls, and Jonathan Smith, Michael gave America a vision of what fathers and families could be at their very best. His personal pain became the world's gain, as he channeled his own childhood trauma into creating characters who showed millions of viewers what unconditional love looks like. Michael Landon proved that sometimes the people who become the best parents are those who understand most deeply what children need, because they know exactly what it feels like not to have it. His legacy lives on, not just in the countless hours of television that still bring families together, but in the generations of parents who learned about love, patience, and moral courage from watching TV's greatest ad. If this story of transformation and redemption moved you, please share it and subscribe for more inspiring stories about the real people behind our most beloved entertainers. Thanks for watching. And remember, like Michael Landon showed us, it's never too late to become the person you needed when you were young.